Migrants in Greece have told DW they fear police detention despite being legally registered in the country. DW has obtained footage from inside the Paranesti detention center, which is closed to journalists. DW's Fani Facha reports on the accusations against Greek authorities.
Reza and his friends spend their days looking for somewhere to sleep in Thessaloniki. He's from Afghanistan and is registered in Greece as an asylum seeker. Even though we have papers, we have to hide. When the police catch us, they beat us and force us out. Then we have nowhere to go. We have to live on the street. Social worker Hope Barker shows us the squats where asylum seekers can find shelter in Thessaloniki. The city used to be safe for refugees, but more and more are hiding from the authorities.
If the police pick them up, they're looking at either lengthy detention or a violent pushback, so most people don't want to be seen by the police at all.
We meet Sharaf from Algeria, who also had documents. He was picked up on the street and spent months in a detention center.
We start hunger striking because we didn't know first why are we here and for how long gonna last.
One incident was especially traumatic.
At night, they brought this group of police and they start beating us. They start beating everyone, really brutally. It was really bad. Like, so many people got injured.
Campaigners report arbitrary detentions in holding facilities or prisons and human rights violations. The authorities tell a different story. The government says that pushbacks are nothing but Turkish propaganda and that so-called secret detention sites don't exist. Now we are on the way to Paranesti, which is a known pre-removal detention center, yet still inaccessible to the public eye. Surrounded by the Rhodope Mountains, even this official detention center is hard to find. An aerial view shows a facility that can hold up to 500 detainees surrounded by barbed wire fencing. Inside, there are reports of police violence. We obtained this exclusive footage from Border Monitoring Violence Network, an independent watchdog which documents police brutality and illegal pushbacks. The video was taken inside Paranesti last year. The monitors say violence is systematic. The Greek government has not responded to our interview requests. We show the images to the United Nations official responsible for refugees.
Certainly, these incidents shouldn't happen. It's important that the conditions of detention are worked on collectively. But at the same time, the asylum service has been, if you look at the past 3 years, the system has changed radically. The system has strengthened itself.
For the refugees, there is little prospect of any immediate improvement in daily life. This facility near Thessaloniki is supposedly an open camp. A concrete wall is being built around it to keep people in. Ironically, construction is being financed by the United Nations Migration Agency.
And DW's Fani Facha, who filed that report, joins us now. Fani, Greek authorities and others have been accused of pushing back migrants in violation of international law. You mentioned that in your report. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, in fact, the Council of Europe's Human Rights Commissioner, we're talking here about the top body within Europe, the top human rights body that has urged in a letter Greece to put an end to these illegal tactics of pushing migrants back. Basically, we're speaking about migrants coming from Turkey, trying to get to Greece, but they never arrive to claim their asylum status, to claim asylum in Greece because they're being pushed back on the Aegean. Now, several human rights organizations have pointed these out. They have mounting evidence about illegal pushbacks, but here comes the problem, here comes the dilemma. Human rights organizations can only make recommendations to Greece. Greece is a sovereign country. They have to make these investigations within their country. But of course, Greece is part of the European Union. So this is where the European Union comes into play. They could start an infringement process. They could basically, as they have indication and as if they have evidence from these human rights organizations, start an infringement process and make sure ensure that Greece is abiding by international law. But these processes have not been started by the European Union.
It should probably also be mentioned that the European Union's own external border service, Frontex, stands accused of pushing back refugees as well. But Greece is on the front line of this crisis. Do Greek authorities have the resources they need to cope with this situation of so many migrants and refugees coming to their shores?
Well, Greek resources are also European Union resources. I mean, hundreds of millions of euros are spent on safeguarding the external borders of the European Union, while only a fraction of that is actually spent on improving the asylum system, improving the fact that these migrants who are arriving from Turkey or through Turkey to Greece, that their cases are heard, that there's a fair process and not just a quick process. But of course, also there's a problem of a political will, not only on the Greek level, but on the common European level. There is no such a thing still since 2015 that we can call a functioning collective asylum system. In fact, if you look at the recent example, just over the weekend, more than 2,000 migrants have arrived in Lampedusa on the Italian island, Italy, asking for help, asking for solidarity from other European countries to relocate these migrants, to distribute them among other European countries, but nobody wants to take them in. Here in Austria, the clear message is, for example, that the solution should be in Africa, but not tackled within the European Union. So you have different versions of politics, be it the Austrian, the Hungarian version, the Polish version, but there's no common collective version to tackle this problem, the migration problem.
Fanny, good to see you. That was Fanny Pachar there, our correspondent, joining us from a rather rainy Vienna.